Welcome back to CT Sports Now, where we are presenting the 85th New Haven Register All-State team. It is one of the oldest All-State teams in the country. You guys have been at it for an awful long time.
Yeah, I think it was, what is that, 31, 32?
You're asking me to do math.
But yeah, since the 30s, there's some awesome names on this team, and it's an honor to be a part of it and be a part of the history of selecting these teams.
You're a big part of it, along with Mike Pucci, and obviously you get some input from some of the other reporters there at the Register.
Yeah, we get anybody we have a question, we'll ask our Joe Morelli, one of our school sports editor, who he's seen anybody. Bob Barton, who is he's been covering high school football in Connecticut for as long as there's been, as long as we've been here, let's put it that way.
Right.
I mean, even longer than that. Like, we're talking about into the 50s.
Yeah.
He was the guy who picked the #1 team, or he ran the polls for years and years. And without Bob's input, I don't know where we'd be, and we're grateful to still have him here.
Well, it seems you guys had quite the pool to choose from on the offensive line. You seemed like a really good offensive line crew around the state this year.
Yeah, no, listen, there's some real prospects on this team. A lot of big kids. I mean, there were a few guys I know we wanted to make sure we got on, and it was only a few spots that we really had to kind of bang our heads over a little bit. So we think it's a great group, and we're anxious to see what they can do at the next level.
So let's start again. We're going in alphabetical order, so nobody's being shown any preference. Let's start with the big fella out of West Haven, Byron Dickens.
Yeah, Byron Dickens is probably one of the best players in the SEC. A lot of guys would say, at least he was definitely the best lineman. I mean, obviously, we think he's one of the best linemen in the state. But, I mean, he was just a rock in the middle on both sides of the ball. Now, remember, a lot of these guys excel both ways. And he wasn't just awesome on the up front for the Westies, helping their great offense and their backs run for so many yards and get them to an undefeated SEC season. He was also great on defense, and you had to really try to find some guys to block him when you were trying to run the ball or throw the ball.
What we're about to see is him on offense. We all know what a great running game that West Haven had, and you got to figure that Byron Dickens is a big part of that.
Yeah, no, obviously. I mean, whenever they needed a big play, they knew who to run behind. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he takes up some space.
Yeah, absolutely. Great player.
Cleared out some people.
We knew going into the season he was going to have a great season. He was second team for us. He was an all-area pick for us last year. He had a great year. He was a big part of that 10-0 season in the regular season.
All right, we move on in our list now, and we go to Glastonbury for another a two-way star, but we're going to put him on the offense for this team, and that's Jared Nelson.
Yeah, Jared Nelson is a guy, I didn't see him personally, but I did get a look at some film, and a lot of people said that he was the real deal up there in Glastonbury. They didn't make the state playoffs for the first time in, I think it was like 6 or 7 years, but it wasn't his fault, that's for sure. I mean, they were able to be in the running toward the end of the season because of him. He's a great two-way lineman. He's going to Villanova next season. And, you just can take a look at the film. Defensively, he's just as impressive.
Yeah, very athletic, very physical. Doesn't have huge size, but extremely strong and active.
Big number 66.
Let's go! Let's go!
I wanted to be the hot shot, all the girls love or whatever. So I tried out as a quarterback, and Coach Daniels was here. It was the first time he saw me play, and I threw one pass, and he told me to go down with the lineman. So ever since then, I've been with the linemen, and just grunting out in the trenches.
So we got to see one defensive play in there, but if we wanted to, we could have put together plenty of
Yeah,
defensive
no, his
plays.
defense, he was awesome on the defensive line. I'm sure there are going to be some teams out there that will have him on the defensive line. But offensive line, we thought he was a great fit, and we thought he was a perfect addition to our 85th All-State team.
All right, let's move on now. And again, in alphabetical order, we go to Darien. Andrew Stuber, big number 72.
Yeah, this was a no-brainer. I think he's going to be. He was a candidate for State Player of the Year. Andrew Stuber, he was a first-teamer on defense last year, and everyone's like, what are you putting him on defense for? And I'll tell you what, you know what? This year, he might have been a great pick for defense. He was that dominant. He's going to Michigan. He's one of 3 Darien players in the history of Michigan football, history of Darien to go to Michigan. So that's pretty good. I mean, listen, you're going to Michigan, you belong on our team, and he proved it to help them win a state title this year.
All right, so keep an eye out for number 72 in these highlights you're about to see.
Yes, Todd Massa was also a goalie at the club.
Now we see why he's going to Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. Darien had the highest offensive totals in the state. There was nobody even close. They rushed for, let's see, they had 5,600 total yards. Meanwhile, on defense, he had 63 tackles, 5 for a loss, 2 sacks, a block punt. I mean, they rushed for 2,100 yards. They passed for 3,500 yards. And a big reason was that guy right in the middle. He takes a loss, and then he's quick. He's got great footwork. He's a total package, and now you know why, Jim Harbaugh wants him.
Yeah.
Let's move on now and talk about a kid out of the SEC, another tremendous lineman, very active in helping the Shelton Gales make their run into the state playoffs. That would be Robert Valeri.
Yeah. Robert Valeri is, it seems like every year we have a Shelton guy at the offensive line, but there's a reason why they've gone to the state the finals a lot the previous 2 years, and then they reached the state semifinals this year, and it all starts up front. There's no way any of those guys get to do anything. He was a rock for them, following a long line of Shelton offensive linemen the last few years on the All-State team.
All right, so look for number 54 in these highlights. Shelton threw the ball so well, obviously ran the ball well as well. But when I watch him, just going back and looking, his footwork was just phenomenal.
Whoever the offensive line coach is, Shelton, I can't remember right now. They do a great job there. Shelton's offense, they had 5,000 yards. They're just behind Darien, 5,000 yards, 57 touchdowns. And then he also played a little bit on defense. He had a sack. He averaged 3.6 tackles a game. Great two-way player on our team at center, too. So now we have someone to snap the ball.
I don't think anyone can argue with any of these guys, especially our next offensive lineman. That is number 69 out of Newtown, Seth Willis.
Yeah, Seth Willis going to BYU next year, which is interesting. And he was from the get-go, from the beginning, we knew he was going to have an all-state season. And from the first game, having Big Ben Mason run and Hunter Cobb run through the holes that he opened up, Newtown was big up front, and this guy was huge right up there on the offensive line, helped them win an SWC championship.
all of these offensive linemen really impressive. And Willis, you just love seeing these linemen going all the way downfield, blocking right until the whistle.
We look at that. We looked at all these highlight reels, and we looked at that stuff. I mean, I saw him live too, and it was just a no-brainer when I saw him. You go, just if you're an offensive lineman and you love to just go downfield and just power people over, and you don't take the rest of the play off once they get past in the second level, then you're a good chance you're going to be on my team. And the Newtown offense, nobody could stop them in the SWC. They had like 3,000 yards, and without him, I don't know if they do well this year, to be honest with you.
All right, so we've built the foundation of our 85th All-Star team for the New Haven Register with the offensive line. Now, when we come back, the guys that get to benefit from that foundation, run and throwing behind the big offensive line, the quarterback and the running backs, when we come back on CT Sports Net.